Hi, my name's Kelly Cates, broadcaster at Sky Sports and the BBC, and I believe that greatness comes from everywhere because you don't need to be defined by where you start. You can choose to be defined by your creativity, your talent, or your hard work.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another very, very exciting online event brought to you by Premier League Primary Stars and the National Literacy Trust. I hope you're very, very well. My name is Lauren Layfield. I'm going to be your host for this morning. And today's workshop is all about celebrating diversity through poetry and discovering. And like Kelly, who just opened with that little video, greatness comes from everywhere. So before I introduce today's special guest, I'd like to make sure that you've got your resource sheets ready to go. We'll be using the resource sheets Diversity and Me in today's session, and you can use the writing sheet after the session today. If you don't have the worksheets, don't panic. We will guide you through the whole workshop today. All you need is a little pen and a pencil, something to write on. And we'd love to find out as well who we've got with us today. I've already seen some messages in the chat, which is excellent. Please say hello to us using the chat function. Make sure you tell us your class name and your school, and we'll do our best to give you a shout out today. And throughout the workshop, add any questions you'd like to ask our special guest, and we'll do that at the end if you fancy it. Right now, it is time to meet our very special guest. So without further ado, let me introduce you to someone who exudes greatness. It is the former Children's Laureate and award-winning poet and author, Joseph Coelho. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Lauren, and hello, everyone. It's so lovely to be here. I'm really excited to get you all inspired to write poetry.
Joseph is very, very good. It's very, very fun to have you with us today. For those who might not know, Joe, like you were the Children's Laureate from 2022 to 2024, wasn't it? So what did that role entail for you?
Well, in my role as the Children's Laureate, I had three main goals. And the first was to encourage every child to see themselves as a bookmaker. The second was to highlight the importance of libraries. So I actually joined a library in every library authority, and I've got 217 library cards. And the third was to celebrate the power of poetry.
That's a lot of library cards. Where are you keeping them?
I keep them all in a really massive wallet.
Good. Obviously, you're such a massive lover of poetry, and you really back poetry. What power do you believe that poetry has?
I believe poetry has the power to help us express our inner thoughts. I always say that poetry translates the soul. It reveals everything that is going on inside in a wonderful way. I started writing poetry when I was in secondary school. I still remember a poem I wrote about a bear. I can't remember the poem, but I know it had the best title because it was called Unbearable. And I did that when I was about 12. I didn't win the competition, but I had so much fun writing it that I kept writing. And it was a way for me to express my feelings. So I wrote poetry when I was feeling joyful, when I was sad, whatever was going on inside. Poetry became a great way to express my feelings.
And poetry is one of those things. It can be a little bit intimidating. It can be a little bit scary. It's hard to get started sometimes. What would you say to people who do feel a bit scared about doing poetry?
Yeah, I think you're right because poetry comes with a lot of baggage. But I want everyone to know that there's definitely no right or wrong way to be a poet or to write poetry. Poetry is absolutely for everyone, and I hope that those watching today will leave feeling more confident and ready to start writing their own poems.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of people watching today, should we do some shout outs? We've got year 5 and 6 from Lipper School. Hello to you. Year 3 at Whitefield. We've got Brimwood Primary School in Rochdale. We've got 4JA. We have got 5KM at Green Lane. We've got St Elizabeth's Catholic Primary School in Richmond. That's year 5. Hi, year 5. We've got the Maples class in Sibsey Primary School. Holly class in Rayburn Primary. We've got Whittaker Moss Primary. Team Panthers at New Hall School. We've got year 6 at Elscar Holy Trinity, 6KB at St Margaret's Junior School. We've got Rayburn Birch and Sycamore, year 4 at St Peter's in Doncaster. We've got Wellington College International Bangkok. That's year 3 to 6. We are international, baby. And we've got as well Mrs. Fawcett's year 5s and 6 at Morecambe Bay Community Primary School. Tons of people joining us today. I did hear earlier we've got 15,000 1,000 people on this call today, which is awesome. So thank you very much. We're really excited to have you all with us. It is now time to tell you about the bit that I know you're all looking forward to, and that's like, what is the prize, Lauren? I want to know about the prize giveaway. So later in the workshop, your school is going to be in the chance of winning a set of free books. Free books, no money involved. All you have to do is put your school's name in the chat to enter the draw. It is that simple, and you never know, they may be yours. Right, without further ado, let's get your worksheets and your pen and your paper ready, because it's time for the celebrations to begin. Let's get into it. This is the main section. Today's workshop is all about celebrating diversity through poetry. So, Joe, where do we even begin when we want to start planning out our poems?
Well, first we pick a theme, which today is diversity. So it's then important to get all our ideas on paper. We don't need to worry at first about different poetic devices, such as alliteration or rhyme. That can all come a bit later on. We just need to get our thoughts down and our feelings down and sort of go crazy on the page.
Yeah, so shall we do a bit of that then? Some of you may be wondering what diversity is. It is a big question. So the dictionary definition of diversity is many different types of things or people being included in something. So when you think about that definition, what does that look like to you? Is that something that you can relate to? Is it that you and your friends in your football team maybe have different talents? Maybe it's that people in your class speak all different languages. Is it that you all look differently? Write down on your worksheet or your piece of paper what diversity means to you, and we would love for you to let us know in the comments as well. It is a big question, isn't it, Joe? And I know that you've written lots of poems in the past about diversity. So what does diversity mean to you? Maybe you can give people a bit of inspiration. And why do you think we should celebrate diversity through poetry?
Well, for me, diversity is about inclusion and about including everyone and celebrating all our wonderful differences, but also all the wonderful ways that we are alike. Now, as I mentioned before, poetry is a way to express how we feel. And when people read our poetry, it helps them to understand or empathize. It can also be quite empowering. We want to write poetry to express something we care about, and we want people to read it and feel something too.
And football obviously is something that loads of people here love, and it brings lots of people together. So do you think poetry can do a similar thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think poetry is written to be shared. We actually get the word lyrics from the fact that in ancient Greece, poets would perform poems to the instrument called the lyra. So that's where we get the word lyrics from, because poetry is meant to be read out loud. It's totally meant to be shared. And I believe it has the power to bring communities together.
Yeah, I love that. Now, before we find out what some of you guys have been saying about diversity, let's find out what diversity means to some very familiar faces.
Hi guys, Kit Brown here, primary school teacher, semi-professional footballer, author and content creator on TikTok. Now diversity is hugely important to me because it's a chance to come together and recognise the differences that make us who we are. We all have unique stories to tell and we all come from wonderfully diverse backgrounds. So when we come together and celebrate those differences, magical things happen. And that's why diversity is so important to me.
Hello, I'm David James and I'm a former professional footballer. To me, diversity is allowing anybody and everybody the same opportunities, the same chances to participate in any activities, to learn from each other, to share with each other, to communicate with each other. I think maybe everyone is slightly different and therefore we are slightly the same. Diversity is what will help us grow.
Oh, I love that. They were really, really nice answers. Thank you very much to David and Kit for sharing those with us. Let's have a little look then about what diversity means to you guys. Loads of answers have come in. This says a multicultural place, again, which sort of touches on what David said there. Diversity means all kinds of people being together, different hobbies and talents. So Michael said different races, skin colour, families, abilities, different talents, countries, different foods, of course. This is nice. It says diversity means inclusion. It means embracing everybody's values, their lives, beliefs, and cultures, and coming together to celebrate it all as one. That is the Georgia O'Keeffe class at the Bangbandu Primary School. This one says everyone is unique, and if everyone was the same, it would be boring. Diversity is when things are very different. Never a truer word spoken. And this is from the Brigantia Hillfort. I hope I said your name right. We love diversity at our school. We feel it would be boring if we were all the same. We learn so much from our different cultures and backgrounds. And then this one says different religions but all equal. So I think these guys are pretty much nailing it straight away. There's some really fantastic answers. So now that we know what diversity means to us, let's talk about what's its benefits. How does being different help us? For example, if someone in your class speaks a different language to you, perhaps they've taught you some new words, for example. Or like, let's talk about football again. In the Premier League, we have players and coaches from all over the world who bring new ideas to the team. So you'll know that Man City coach Pep Guardiola, he managed Barcelona before he moved to Man City, and he used his knowledge that he gained out there to help them win 4 consecutive league titles. Come on, City. So using your worksheet, let's have a little think and maybe write down some of the benefits of diversity. And Joe, let's talk about how can this help us with our poems? If we think about those benefits, how can we feed that in?
Well, the poem is all about celebrating diversity, and it's great to think about all the positives that our diversity brings. So you may not end up including it all in the poem, but it's useful to get as many ideas written down as possible so you can pick and choose the bits you want to use.
Yeah, I love that. Should we find out as well what another familiar face has to say? Have a look at this.
Good morning, peoples. My name is Ashley Waters, and I believe that the greatest benefit of diversity is multiculturalism. Understanding that in order for us to grow as a unit, we need to be able to understand each other and embrace each other. And I feel, especially in London, we have all reaped the benefits of that, whether it be food, whether it be music, whether it be style. Just culture in general is really rich, and I don't think you find another place in the world like that. But long may it continue, and I hope that that spreads around the world, around the globe. But that is my understanding of what diversity brings, and one of the greatest benefits.
I love Ashley Walters. I think he's such a legend. Thank you for that, Ashley. Hopefully you guys now have written all something down. We know what diversity is, and we know why it's so wonderful. So let's ask ourselves another question that might help our poems take a bit of shape. How can we make sure people feel valued? That is a really big question. What makes you feel appreciated and respected? Perhaps it's being praised, or someone saying thank you to you, or maybe it's someone smiling at you. Write down on your answer sheet and share it in the chat with us as well. Joe, what makes you feel valued, would you say?
I feel valued when I feel heard, when people are interested in my poetry. What about you, Lauren?
I think I feel valued when I've worked really, really hard on something and somebody says, you did really well at that. Or even you tried, you just tried at your best. Like, it's nice sometimes for somebody else to point out that you put the effort in. That makes me feel valued. It makes me feel like the things that I'm doing and adding to the world have been seen, and I really appreciate that. Let's see what another special guest has to say, shall we?
Hiya, my name's Vanessa Taylor, and I'm the author of the Baller Boys book series, Baller Boys and Baller Boys versus the Bulldozers. I feel valued when people treat me with kindness and respect. As a black woman, I feel valued when people celebrate my culture and my stories and not ignore them. I also feel valued when someone invites me to be part of something, a team, a project, a big idea, and they believe I can make a difference. That's when I feel like my voice matters, and everyone deserves to feel that way.
Yeah, I really like that, what she said about sort of being invited to be included. That's a really nice one, isn't it? Really, really nice. Thank you, Vanessa, for those. Some answers coming in from you guys. We can take the time to listen to other people's cultures, offering meaningful responses. That's a really nice one. This says when people appreciate my efforts. That's from 4A in Marland Hill. That's a little bit like, yeah, what I said about sort of being recognised. It's quite nice sometimes, isn't it? This is lovely from Barley Lane Primary School. I feel valued when someone engages me in conversations. That's a really good one, isn't it, Joe?
Lovely. And so easy to do as well, isn't it?
So easy. Auchinleck Primary said when people are kind and like each other. St Michael's RC Primary says what makes us feel special, being supported, being kind to each other, being seen and heard, friends and family showing us love, someone smiling at me, people cheering me on and compliments. That's nice. This one says saying thank you or acknowledging you, saying hi, someone smiling at us. I think there's a lot about just recognition in a way, isn't it? Like noticing that you're there is important, isn't it? This says recognizing people's talents, listening carefully to you. When people celebrate our achievements, that's from St Elizabeth's Catholic Primary School in Richmond. Everyone being included and valued, everybody being heard, everybody feeling like they have a voice. That is so important. That's from the GOK or GOT class in Bangabandhu Primary. I feel valued when someone engages me in conversations as well. And someone put as well, time. Someone giving you their time is a really nice thing, isn't it, Joe?
Listening.
Yeah.
Someone taking the time to listen to you and to engage with you. It's such a simple and beautiful thing.
Yeah. Kate's Hill Primary said people making me feel welcome. Five Potter in Bruceville said we feel valued when people, where's that gone? It's just disappeared off my head. When people are friends with me and celebrate my culture. That's from Hilton Primary Academy. Lovely, lovely stuff. That's gorgeous. Right, if you have time later, complete the second page of the worksheet. However, we're going to move on now and start getting some advice from our expert in turning our ideas into a poem. So if you're watching with your school, your teacher can help you decide which style of poem you'll be writing after this workshop. It could be a shape poem, it could be a narrative poem. I don't even know what this word is. You're going to have to teach me this. Acrostic?
An acrostic poem, when you've got a word down the side of the page and then each sentence starts with each word. So
I never even knew that was the word. That's
yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, that is very cool. Well, I've learned something today, which is amazing. We'd like you to use the title for your poem, Greatness Comes From Everywhere. And to help you understand why greatness definitely comes from everywhere, we've got a clip from two special guests for you. Have a look at this.
Yo, I'm MC Grammar, rapper and author. Who are you?
I'm Michael Rosen, poet and author.
And we're here for the Premier League takeover to tell you why greatness comes from everywhere. Why does it come from everywhere, Michael?
Because I believe there is one race, the human race, and every single person in that human race has greatness inside them. And what we can do with that greatness is share it.
Yes, we all have unique individual gifts that make us different. So what do we need to do?
Get out there and share it, because it's great to share.
Get sharing.
I don't know who's cooler, Michael or MC Grammar. Both two absolute G's. Right, so Joseph, with this in mind, how can we help those watching to prepare their poems? Where can we start?
Well, I think to help you all prepare, we will try writing a verse of a poem together. Writing poetry is something that can be done together, so we can all help each other out.
Yeah, I like that, because sometimes it's hard, isn't it, when you're on your own? But, getting those ideas and inspiration from somebody else is really good. So what type of poem shall we do, Joe?
Well, I think we'll do a free verse poem. Now, a free verse poem is a poem that doesn't rhyme or follow a consistent rhythm. I know sometimes people think poems must rhyme, but they don't need to. Poetry absolutely does not have to rhyme. Rhyme's just a tool that we can use if we want. But hopefully that stops everyone watching feeling worried to start with.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Where should we start with this then?
Well, we know our theme is diversity, and the poem is going to be called Greatness Comes From Everywhere. So we'd like a strong, punchy line that we can open with. Now, this could also be repeated at the start of every verse if we wanted some repetition in the poem. For those of you watching, we'd like you to decide which line we should start our poem with.
Well, I like this. We're all going to build it together. This is great. Okay, we'd love you to vote now. There should be a poll that you can see. Are you going to vote? Oh, look, there he is. Are you going to vote for A, greatness lies in us all? B, we are all great? C, why be good when we can be great? Or D, greatness comes from everywhere? Let's vote now and see what comes through. Right, answers are in. We're going to go for greatness comes from everywhere. There we go. Oh, look at that. Hang on. We've got our punchy opening line. So, what should we look at next?
Okay, so we've got our opening line. At this point, I would look at my planning notes and select something I'd like to focus this particular verse on. I really liked it when we spoke about us all having different talents, so perhaps we can focus on that. For the next line, I'd like to look at vocabulary choices. It's always great to use vivid vocabulary in poetry, so we want readers to use all their senses when reading the poem. We want readers to hear and smell, taste, touch, and see what diversity means to us.
Okay, so let's do the next bit then. Which sentence should we do? Which sentence has the most vivid vocabulary? Let's have a look at that poll again. Our gifts echo endlessly. That's A. We could do B. We have lots of talents. We could do C. Everyone has their own talent. Or D. We are all extremely gifted. Have a little vote, everybody, and let's see which one we're going to go with next. It looks like we're going for C. Everyone has their own talent has come through. I like that. That's our first two lines done, which is brilliant. Thank you, everyone, for that. So we've got a repeated line. We've got vivid vocabulary. What else do we need, Joe?
Well, we need some figurative language. So figurative language is when words are used in a fun or creative way to help you imagine something, not exactly what it really means. Now, there are lots of different types of figurative language, and I'm sure your teachers will go over them all with you. However, today I'm going to focus on two of my favourites. The first is a metaphor. Now, this is a device where you describe something as if it was something else for poetic effect. For example, Lauren, you are a star.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, I'm saying Lauren is a star, but I don't mean she's actually a ball of hot gas.
Wow.
I mean, she is. I mean, she's especially good at what she does.
Oh, thanks. I feel very valued you saying that.
Oh.
Shall we see if you guys watching then can have a go? Which of the following lines do you think is the best metaphor for our poem? So we've got A, we are like shiny stars. B, we are a galaxy of shining stars. C, we are all shining bright. Or D, we are good at what we do. Have a little vote. Let's see what we think. See the chat, someone saying, vote! Vote! And it looks like we have gone for B, we are a galaxy of shining stars, which
Beautiful.
seems like a good one to go to. Very, very good. Final line then, Joseph. Personification. This is where you can give an inanimate object human qualities. Is that right?
Yeah. So, for example, you could say the leaves were waving at me. Now, leaves can't actually wave, but we get the idea that the leaves were swaying in the wind.
That's really nice. That so like the sun was smiling means the weather was good, and like the sun shining. Is that kind of the vibe?
Yeah, exactly that.
Love that. Okay, so shall we see if you guys watching can pick the personification? Let's have a look at our last poll. It could be A, our hearts are one. We might go for B, our hearts are like gold. We could go for C, our hearts all sing the same song. Why don't we go for D, our hearts are strong? Which one do we fancy? get your votes in on the poll right now. This is very cool, building a poem together. I'd love if I could share all of my work all of the time with everybody. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Looks like we've gone for C. Our hearts all sing the same song. Beautiful stuff. There we go. We've built a poem just like that in a matter of what, like 5 minutes, which kind of shows like how easy it is. Shall we put all the lines together, Joe?
Yeah. So we've got greatness comes from everywhere. Everyone has their own talent. We are a galaxy of shining stars. Our hearts all sing the same song. Now, once I put all my lines together, I then redraft it. I might add some words or I might remove some words. I might make lines longer or shorter until they turn into something a bit like this. Greatness flows from everywhere and everyone. Our glorious gifts give so much, echoing endlessly through time. We are a constellation of shining stars. Our greatness flows eternal as our hearts sing the same song, the same soulful song.
See, that's why he's an expert. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just elevated it. He took it higher. That is really, really good. Well done to you guys for putting that first bit together as well. Joe, what would happen next then?
Well, after this, you would go again. You would look at the ideas from your planning sheet, decide what the focus of your next verse will be, and then think of different vocab and figurative language to include in it.
Yeah, lovely. And before we let those watching go off and become inspirational poets, I'm sure, have you got any final tips for them?
Absolutely. Now, my final tip would be to carry a notebook wherever you go. And now this could be a fancy notebook from a fancy shop, or it could just be a couple of sheets of paper folded in the middle. But take that paper or that notebook everywhere you go, break time, lunchtime, with a pen or pencil, and then note down your ideas, because you never know when great ideas are going to strike. And also keep it by your bed at night in case you have weird dreams, and you can note them down and they can inspire poetry.
That's a really good idea. I bet some really good stuff comes from some of the wacky dreams you have sometimes, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Thank you, Joe. That's been really, really helpful. Now, Joe is not the only one with some final tips. Earlier this term, to support Premier League's No Room for Racism campaign and Black History Month, Premier League clubs were invited to take part in a poetry writing competition, all about what you guys have been learning about today. The winning club was Crystal Palace, and we are extremely excited as we can now go live to the winning school. So let's head over to a class from St. Chad's Primary School who are with the Palace for Life Foundations. Good morning, guys, and congratulations on your win. We are really, really excited for you. We would love you guys to share some words of wisdom for writing poems that celebrate diversity. And I know that we've got some excellent students who are primed and ready to come up and tell us all about it.
Hi, I'm Mira. My piece of advice is, first, make a word club with words that come to mind when you think about diversity. Then look to see if any of the words rhyme or link together to make phrases.
My name is Joseph, and my piece of advice is to list all the ways you are special and unique and weave them into your poem. This helped me create a message of unity.
My name is Gabriella, and my piece of advice is, I begin by thinking about the ways we are all similar, and then the differences that make our world special. I use these ideas to build each verse of the poem.
That is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. Some brilliant, brilliant advice there. Very confidently delivered. Bearing in mind there's lots of people watching today. Well done. We also have a winning poem that we would love to hear.
Hello, my name is Michaela, and this is my poem. Greatness comes from everywhere. Greatness does not wear one face, no single way defines us all, no single dream, no single call. Yet side by side we rise and see the strength in our variety. We are all born in a different way, how we look and what we say. Together, stronger we can truly be when every color shines, honest and true. different stories, voices, bold and bright. Your rhythm may not match my song, your path may twist where mine is long, but side by side we walk this land, not as strangers, but hand in hand.
Oh my goodness. Listen, if you're watching, we need a big round of applause in your class. Well done, Joe. What did you think?
That was incredible. That was brilliant work. Well done.
Beautiful, beautiful work. Thank you guys so much for sharing your advice and providing us some inspiration. And to say thank you to you guys, the team at the Premier League Primary Stars would like to give you a little gift today. Oh, yes. Hopefully, somewhere there is some books coming your way. There they are. Yay! Guys, thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you very much. And can I just say, a very well-behaved class. Fantastic work. Right, and to everyone watching, once you complete the worksheet and write your poems, we would love to hear or read them. So if you have permission, please share them with us on our school socials with the hashtag PL Primary Stars. Tag the National Literacy Trust and PL Communities as well, and you might have a chance to be featured on our website. That was lovely, wasn't it? Right, before we let you go off and write your poems, I want to give you some time to ask Joseph your questions. So pop them in the chat right now. We are looking out for them. Any questions for Joe? Remember, it's at PL Communities, at Literacy Trust, at hashtag PL Primary Stars there. While you're deciding your questions, the time has arrived for our book prize giveaway. See, we're just giving out books left, right and centre, Joe. We have got a colourful wheel to spin. And if the arrow lands on your school's name, you have won. This is thrilling. This is too thrilling for a Tuesday morning. Okay, so if you look closely, if your school appears on the screen, please email sport@literacytrust.org.uk. That is sport@literacytrust.org.uk. We'll try and put that in the chat for you so you know where to email to claim your free books. Are we ready to spin that wheel? Here we go. Oh, it's spun. It's spun already. It's spun. Oh, there we go. Let me just pull this over so I can see exactly who it is. It's Ashley Junior School. Well done to you. Free books on the way. Yeah, do email that sport@literacytrust.org.uk and we'll get those sent out to you. There's nothing better, Joe, than free books, is there?
I love a free book.
No money spent. We love that. Congratulations to that school. We'll send them over to you. And thank you, Premier League Primary Stars. Okay, so questions for Joe. Let's get on to it. What was the hardest poem that you ever wrote, Joe?
Oh, it's a very short poem. So if you indulge me, it goes like this. I know an aardvark. He works in a prison as a guardvark. He spends the whole day walking around the yard bark. The work's not easy. It's very hard bark. Now, that's a short poem, but that took forever and it was really hard to make a little story about an aardvark with lots of words that sound like aardvark.
It worked perfectly, though. That's why he's a genius. That's so funny. That's brilliant. Let's move on then to year 4 from Brimrod Primary School, who said, what's your favourite football team, Joe?
Well, I think I have to go with my local team. Where I grew up in Wandsworth, and one of the first football matches I watched was with Wimbledon. So I'd have to go with Wimbledon.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. You're not like me. I follow Man City, even though I'm from the Midlands. So I'm very much a fair weather supporter. That's terrible, isn't it? At least you support a team where you live. That's good. This is from Chisenhale Primary and says, what made you become a poet?
You know what? I think the first seed was planted when the late, great Jean Binta Breeze visited my school. So Jean Binta Breeze was a brilliant poet from Jamaica, and she visited my school and read poems to my class. And it was the first time I'd seen anyone who looked a bit like me, you know, who was also had a background from Jamaica, reading poetry. And I thought, oh, I could be a poet. That could be my job. So she planted that seed. And I was very lucky that many years later, I got to share the stage with her as a fully fledged poet.
Oh, cool. That must be such a good moment to like meet your literary hero, basically,
Yeah.
isn't
I was
it?
like, you came to my school.
Ah, that's cute. I love that. Newhall Primary School says, "How did you start writing poems? Like you said earlier, you did that from quite young, didn't you?"
Yeah, so I started by doing like school competitions. We didn't have a huge amount of opportunity to write poems in school, which is why I think things like this live lesson today, are so essential. So I started doing the odd competition when one became available at school, and sort of keeping a notebook and writing lots of poems. But I always like to encourage schools to maybe start up writing clubs if you haven't got one already. Maybe you can have a poetry club during break time or lunchtime, or an after school club. So maybe you could ask your teachers if you can set up a poetry writing class or a club in school. I think that'd be a great way to get started.
Yeah, definitely. Morecambe Bay CP says, "How long do your poems take you to write?"
Oh, that's a great question. It really depends, because sometimes, a poem can be really, really, really long. There are poems that are millions of words long. I haven't written one quite that long, but I've written verse novels, which have taken me over a year, which are kind of like long narrative poems. But then you can write a poem in half an hour, a bit like we've done today, to get that first draft done. And then you spend a bit more time and a bit more love going over it to craft it and hone it into your best possible poem.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that actually as well? How do you know a poem is good?
Oh, that's a really good question. You know what? You kind of feel it. You get a little. I always get like a little tingle
Yeah.
when the poem feels right, and that often comes when I put a lot of work into it, when I've reworked it and gone over it, just like we've been doing today. So I think that work really pays off.
Yeah, lovely. This question says, and I don't know if it's the aardvark one, this, but which poem are you most proud of writing?
But there's a poem that appears in my first poetry collection called "If All the World Were Paper," and you can check that out online. There's videos of me reading it. But if all the world were paper, imagines a world of paper. But it's a poem about family as well. So that's one of the poems I'm most proud of, as well as, of course, a poem I'm going to read for you a bit later on called "Wonderfully Different, Beautifully the Same."
Ooh, I love that. This says, you said earlier you've got lots of library cards. What's your favourite library from Mrs. Jones?
Oh man, that's too difficult, because I've joined 217, and there's something beautiful and unique about every single one. One that stands out was one just outside of Blackpool, a Mearsford library, which was in a converted one-bedroom flat. So it used to be a one-bedroom flat, and the council had transformed it into a mini library. So that really stands out in my mind. That was beautiful.
That's really cute. Elskar Holy Trinity Year 6 says, "What's your favourite poem?"
Oh, one of my favorite poems is the Listeners by Walter de la Mare, which is a bit of a creepy poem. If you like creepy stuff, it describes a traveller travelling at night, and it's got really beautiful language. It talks about a horse going over the cobbled streets. But if you like creepy stuff, that's quite a nice creepy poem.
Five Potter in Boothfield says, "When writing a poem, what's the most important thing to remember?"
Or the most important thing to remember is your audience, who you're writing for. I always like to imagine the reader sitting down, without me there, sitting down with a book, reading my poem, and I think about what they're going to take away from it. Where are they going to laugh? Where are they going to smile? What might affect them emotionally? Will bits make them sad? Will bits make them reflect? So I always have that reader in mind.
Yeah, lovely. This is a good question from Stanford Junior School. This is something I'm sure everyone who's doing anything creative feels sometimes. Have you ever gotten so frustrated that you considered quitting being a poet?
Oh, um, sort of. I mean, because I feel like you can write poems anywhere and everywhere, and I see poetry as a real release and a real joy. So I don't think I've ever felt kind of quitting writing poetry, but maybe like being a poet as a job, because sometimes like work can get frustrating. But the actual act of writing a poem, I feel like is just such a complete joy that I'd never want to quit that.
Cute. Carly in 5mm Stanford says, "Where do you feel comfortable writing poetry?"
You know what? I'm in my study right now, and I've got this lounging chair where I can sort of lounge right back, and I can pen my poems there, and it's right in the window. So I like writing there. So I feel like I'm almost falling asleep, and then I can write a poem in a dreamlike state.
That's lovely. That's the vision of being an author or a poet, isn't it? That's
Pen
fantastic.
in hand.
Yeah. Keyingham Primary School, Year 4 says, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself as a child?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. I would tell myself to be brave and to keep writing. And I would tell myself, you can be a writer. That can be your job. Because I didn't realize when I was a kid that that could be my job. So if anyone out there is interested in being a writer, and that could be writing poems, plays, the next best-selling Hollywood movie, could be writing computer games, because of course writers write computer games. All those different forms of writing can be jobs. So I would tell myself that it can be your job.
That's cool. Gatton Primary School says, what was your first poem you wrote and what was it about?
Oh, my very first poem. The earliest one I remember writing was the one about a bear, where I'd seen a documentary about bears and it had moved me sort of emotionally. And so I wrote down all the things I was feeling after watching that documentary about bears, which has always stayed with me because it makes me think, if whenever you see something that emotionally moves you, be it a film or a book or a comic or a cartoon, if there's something that emotionally moves you, then maybe that could be the starting point for a poem.
Great advice, actually. This is from Hayat at Molan Primary School. What is it that you particularly like about poetry?
Well, I like that it connects people together, that poetry brings communities together, especially when poems are shared. So that could be, as simple as sharing a poem with a brother or sister or with an adult at home. It might be reading a poem out loud to an audience. But once you start to share a poem, it brings people together. And, at the same time, we all become invested in this little world because each poem is like its own little universe and everyone enters into it together when they're listening together to the wonderful words of a poem.
Mohammed from Year 4 in Brimrod Primary School says, do you need a good memory to write a good poem?
Oh, that's a really good question. You know what? By writing poems and by challenging yourself to memorize them, your memory gets better. When I first started, I found it quite a struggle to memorize my poems. But now I find it a lot easier, and I have a kind of a flow where I will write a poem and I will practice reading it again and again and again until it lodges in my mind. Of course, all that's a lot easier when you're younger. So I've met many kids in many different schools that are brilliant at remembering poems, both poems that they've written and poems that they've found in books. But the more you do that, the better your memory becomes.
That'd be good for me as well, because I'm the most forgetful person ever. Thank you so much, Joe. What an inspiring workshop that was. Your time has been so appreciated, and you've helped us discover how poetry is important when it comes to celebrating our differences and how truly important it is for people. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Lauren. It's been a real pleasure to take part. So thank you for having me.
Don't forget, teachers, there are supporting materials on the Premier League Primary Stars website to help pupils continue writing their poems after this workshop. We will stick a link in the chat for you. And to finish, Joseph's going to close the workshop with a performance of his poem all about celebrating diversity. Beautifully different, wonderfully the same. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much for taking part in all your questions, and have a lovely day. And let's leave you with Joe right now.
Beautifully different, wonderfully the same. The same star beams on us when we're kissed by spring. So find me the one not warmed by the sunshine. Some are different to you, but their smiles still blind. The same laughter erupts when a joke finds its giggle. Same whoop, same cheer, different smiles. The same rhythm rocks us when a dance makes us wiggle. Same hands, same feet, different styles. The same journey awaits us when we're told to leave. So find me the one who never tires on the road. Some are from different places, but still strain under a load. The same warmth in our bellies when we choose to be kind. Same hug, same high five, different bodies. The same happiness finds us when friendship binds. Same goal, same win, different players. The same storm soaks us when grey clouds touch. So find me the one not soaked by the rain. Some look different to you, but will be soaked all the same. The same sadness within us when darkness creeps. Same eyes, same sobs, different tears. The same joy on our faces when we're no longer apart. Same blood, same beat, same hearts. Thank you.